Hello there, Yop. My name's Andrew, and I'm the essay corrector here at IELTSpodcast.com. Thanks for submitting this, your first set of essays. Well done for getting this far in the course as well. So this is what normally happens. I'll read through sentence by sentence and let you know just how well you responded to the task. I'll also talk about how well you structured the essay, the language used and whether it was formal and precise enough, and I'll also correct some grammar along the way. So as you can see here, I've made a note of the number of words in this first piece, and this is insufficient. In the task and achievement section of the mark scheme, we have to make sure that we respond to every single part of the question, including the requirement to write at least 250 words. Now I can see that there's probably scope to add quite a considerable amount to the end of this paragraph, and the conclusion. So we'll cover that. I'll try to make it above 250 words. So let's have a look. So when we use however like this, it's better to use a semicolon, however, comma. In formal writing, however normally only starts a sentence. There are times when you can use it in the middle of a sentence, but it's kind of conversational. It should be more like this. So some people argue that reading is the most important activity to gain skills and increase imagination. However, other people believe that an activity needs to be enjoyable as a precondition in order to develop skills. It's not just in order to develop skills, it's the idea that enjoyable activities are better at developing skills and imagination than reading. So we need to compare the two rather than say that the activity needs to be enjoyable. It's not that it's a prerequisite. It's that we're comparing the two. Also, the question asks about doing enjoyable activities with children. So it's participatory. It's talking about the parent, guardian, or teacher, or even a sibling, anyone, doing these activities with the child. Let's say here then that more enjoyable activities are, actually let's have a look, that participating in more enjoyable activities with children is better for the development of skills and creative thinking. Obviously, we don't need this essay. Let's use many instead of a lot of. It just sounds a little bit more formal. And this should be many more benefits. This is the difference between countable and uncountable nouns. It's the same for whether we use number or amount. An amount of sugar, a number of people. Much more sugar, many more benefits. Is it a number or an amount? Is it a unit of measurement or just an integer that refers to it? This is largely because activities other than reading. So the only thing that's missing from this paragraph, and this one, we're talking about skills all the way through. We haven't mentioned creative thinking or imagination. Also remember the participatory aspect, that it's about doing things with children and not just what they're doing on their own. I would usually replace needs to with must as well. So, now, what did we manage? Yes, now we're good. So we need to make sure the paragraphs are fully developed. Your grammar is great. Your ideas are good, but we need to focus on the task response section of the mark scheme. So what we need to do is study the question first to make sure that we are responding to every single part of it, including the word count, every prepositional relationship. So if we're playing with a child, we must talk about that and not just what children do on their own. So I think spending a couple of minutes studying the question will help you to make sure that your essay is fully developed and on topic. But your lexical resource, your grammatical range and accuracy, and your coherence and cohesion are all above a 7, but we need to get the task response correct. Now, this one looks better because it's actually 290 something words. So already the task response is better. Now, in your email, you asked, what does it mean what does of late mean? It literally just means lately. Or in modern times. It just means recently. And also, a good introduction does not include any background information. It simply paraphrases the question, provides an opinion, and an outline of the ideas you will use in the essay. So we need to make sure we encompass the entire question in our first sentence. Then we have a thesis statement where we say, this essay fully agrees or this essay strongly advocates. And then we use either due to or as a result of or since to then attach a brief outline of our ideas. Now, we don't necessarily need to speak about the examples we're going to use, but we can say, this essay strongly agrees that communication has reduced between family members of late as a result of modern technology and increased working pressures. And then the examples support our ideas later on, but we don't need them here. But the three things, paraphrase, thesis, outline, are required in the introduction. And this is the first thing that the examiner sees as well, and it's where your score begins. So the examiner spends a good few minutes analysing your introduction and decides what your band score is there, and then it changes throughout the essay. But the first score you get is here. So we need to make sure that this is as impressive as possible. So this is background information. We could just get rid of that and say that. I would like to rephrase this. don't like the use of personal pronouns when they're not necessary. So let's stick to scientific speech. The only thing missing from this paragraph is an explanation of how being stimulated reduces focus. This is kind of an assumption. You're saying that we have an overload of stimuli and therefore, obviously, people have less focus. But this needs to be explained just a little bit more. So this idea needs to be further developed. Number of people. So we could say the number of people with whom we interact. But once again, let's try to stay away from these personal pronouns. The number of people with whom we interact has increased, but has also caused people to spend less time communicating with their family members. Okay, it's there. So this one is much better. I really didn't have to provide many corrections whatsoever on the second paragraph. I'd say with this one we're approaching the band 7 now. So this is a good place to start, obviously at the beginning of the course. So I'll send this over to you now. I'll look forward to your next pieces, but what you should do to get the biggest benefit out of this course is to apply these corrections yourself to your own work, which will allow you to spot your own mistakes. Also, if in the next email you could send me your new essays, your corrected essays, and a list of the errors that you made most frequently, that would be great. So all the best to you up, well done, and I'll speak to you again soon.